was really thinking what I can present here, not to be too redundant with all the other topics you already might heard. And yeah, I'm from Hamburg. You just heard in the last talk, Hamburg has a huge game industry. Yeah, we have like Good Games, Big Point, InnoGames, and all that. Games industries have developers who are interested in 3D, so they decided to make an indie game VR startup. I know friends who have a big game company, and they say, okay, 1 in 10 games is successful, and as you might remember, 1 in 10 startups is successful too. That means together, if you have a game startup, it means that you are successful by rate 99 fail, maybe. And if you consider that 95% of all the people didn't yet try a VR headset, it's a pretty hard market, I would say. So that's why we kind of, actually we present 2 companies today, and we kind of focus on the market on corporate mid-sized sector and corporate sector. We just heard about we need VCs and we need investors and stuff. Yes, I think the Berlin scene works like that. In Hamburg, for example, we have a lot of mid-sized world market champions you never heard of. They do screws or, I don't know, like really tiny stuff you won't consider. But they are very successful. They make millions and billions, and you might never heard the name. And they're just everywhere in Germany, and especially around Hamburg. And somehow, we started as an IT company and we got in touch with them. So that's kind of the story I want to go. What can you do to start earning money in that field? Because a lot of these startups, I know a lot of the startups who started in Hamburg, a lot of them failed yet, or they are really struggling. They do games because they don't really have the connection to these mid-sized sector companies or corporate sector companies. And that's actually a nice market. Maybe the next big thing. Actually, we know trends, like trends wants to become a standard. Yeah, I think the first big trend was a reel. Worked out pretty well, I heard. And glasses, and we know all the other stuff. And it's even further in development nowadays. And that stuff that started as a trend, the first guy built a wheel, and then another guy saw, oh, it works well. I do that too, and I can transport stuff much faster now. And then, of course, we had some other trends which are more technology-based. I didn't really find a picture for that. It's a black box. Who might know what it is? It could represent the internet, exactly. The internet kind of had the same problems as virtual reality, mixed reality stuff, yeah? All this huge field, but basically I talk about VR and AR. This was started by science and military, kind of, a mixture. And it lasts very long to be adapted, and they had to understand it. And since just 95% of the people didn't wear a headset yet, means we are not even in the early phase of a new technology, we are kind of in the inventor's phase, kind of still. The internet triggered some other stuff that came to stay. You might know some of these, and some of these guys already been there, but improved due to the internet. And the question is, what's the next in the spectrum? Ooh, yeah, if you ask Google, it's pretty obvious. There's this well-known hockey stick, like people really interested in VR. I think AR is not really that much, but pretty much the same. But we still use VR to kind of, as a roof, not mixed reality, as a roof for all these reality topics. So it's a big thing, but whoa. Now it's jumping. Okay. The thing is, when you go to these mid-sized companies or these corporates, they never had a headset on their face. Maybe they saw it or heard from their children or read it somewhere in Spiegel or whatever. And you seriously have to explain them the difference. Like the basic difference between like a cardboard where you just put your smartphone in, or some big HTC thing where you have an inbuilt screen and you have cables everywhere. Cable-based and smartphone-based. That's something they have to understand. They don't understand that automatically. You really have to find a way to make them understand the difference. So break it down as simple as possible, and then they will love it. They definitely love it. But on the other hand, you have to imagine you are in this corporate or in this mid-sized family company which is really successful, and there are like 3 guys from the managing board, and one of the guys puts on this headphone and he's playing tennis and he's just jumping around, and he's like this authority. He doesn't really feel comfortable to do that in front of his colleagues because he's like authoritative person. He doesn't feel very well about it. That's kind of a reason why augmented reality works still a bit better, because they don't have to leave the real reality. That's why it's much easier to get them use augmented reality solutions at the moment, because they don't have to leave the real reality. Basically, what works, what the people understood is like 3 things: 360-degree video and pictures. I won't talk about that one because like it's not really virtual, it's not really built. Augmented reality, that's what they like, and virtual reality, that's where the journey will go. I think virtual reality will really be big after augmented reality. That's actually what we see in our account. That's where we get much more money from augmented reality at the moment. But same with the internet. There are usually 3 big industries triggering new trends. Yeah? We're talking about trends becoming standard. Usually, of course, it's always games. Yeah? Games, yeah, you might have seen that in Omni, but this is not only game, it's not only shooter, of course. A lot of people like shooters. But the next big industry, military, yeah, they might use that. It's nice they don't have to send the people abroad, they just send Terminators to kill them all. But that's seriously happening. You see that in the news with all the drones and stuff, and this will be humanoid sooner or later will come too. You heard about this, a cave. I won't talk about that too much too, because it was in a lot of speeches here. And it's kind of a training thing. If I don't want to go to Afghanistan, I just do it in a cave and run around, and it's displayed to Afghanistan in the robot, kind of. Another industry you might see then on the 1st of April, I just chose this picture. We had this topic, porn, VR porn here somewhere. It's a bodysuit. It's awesome, I think. But nevertheless, this always works, yeah? It's like, so we can say it's games, it's military, it's erotic, let's say, it's sex. Again, augmented reality games, it's a big hype too, but this is my favorite. Actually, who's playing Pokemon Go here? Who's over level 10? Over level 20? Damn, I'm 16. No, actually, you have to imagine you are this managing board guy of a mid-sized company with 200 people, and you're a weekend, and you want to have dinner with your family. And then, just out of nowhere, your child, little Peter, is jumping up behind the sofa and is screaming, "Ah, there's a Taubsi." You sit there. What's going on here? He's sick. And this happens again and again and again, and then the dad might ask, "What are you actually doing there?" Like, "Yeah, I play Pokemon Go, it's awesome, whatever." And next day at work, they were going to talk about it with the colleagues. And "Hey, do you have that too? Is your child crazy too?" Yeah, they behave strange. So maybe we should check that out. So they would start read the news. They would Google that. What is this augmented reality? What is this Pokemon Go? And they kind of get awareness. Oh, this is relevant. This might be relevant. All the kids adapt that. All the kids understand that. They run crazy. Maybe we can do that. Do something. Maybe it's relevant for our business too. So we should care. So which companies are there? So they're going to ask some friends, because at least mid-sized companies like the hidden champions are not like the big corporates very well connected to a lot of agencies who actually do the work and allocate the agencies for them and present them. They just ask their network, do you know somebody who's doing that? Or in the business club, do you know somebody who's doing VR? And then sometimes they come to us and ask, "Hey, can you do a presentation?" And then you go there and make a presentation. And of course, when you do the VR thing and these kind of things, it's much too much. Like sometimes they have 404s a lot at their page. It's not even responsive. When you drive there, the web page is not there, the app doesn't work, nothing. The infrastructure is like, let's say, difficult. But they're interested to see that. And what these kind of companies look for is they look for partners who can really help them understanding new technologies and the potential behind that, and even help them to get the milestones to come to this point where they might need augmented or virtual reality. But before, they have to solve a lot of problems. So that's why we have to think, like, how can we make sense? Like, military, law, and games, they already adapted, because they always an early adapter, but how can we translate it for medium size or big business? Yeah, you need a good story. So a lot of companies who are in this field who might not be a startup anymore, or who are a startup, whatever, they need a story to kind of make understandable what they do. What we did, for example, I don't know, who knows this guy? Timothy Leary. He was very good in two things, in LSD and in VR. So it's a chicken egg problem, I think. But he was actually one of the first guys that VR will be a big thing. So he was in Hamburg in 1990 actually, and two of the founders of Absolute, I'm there for 3 years now because I was 12 at this point of time. They went to his talk and they said, oh, that's awesome. We have to do that. In the States, they just started to build this VR glasses for $50,000, and the resolution was 200 times 300 dots, and I think it was 3 screens a second or something. You really become dizzy and stuff. But they kind of started to build that. It's actually a scuba diving glass, and we had like the first flat screens from cameras, and the lenses was awesome. We got it from Jena. And at this point of time, Germany was still divided. So you had to order them in another country, which was the Cold War time kind of still. And yeah, so it lasts like 6 weeks or something to order the glasses. So we had like one of the first virtual reality glasses, which with a resolution of 300 times 200 points. So we were actually at the market, but we didn't know that because at this time the black box was not invented yet, or they're not really rolling. The internet was not, there was no Google or something. So we couldn't figure out that it's a big thing. So nevertheless, at this point of time, we kind of started Absolute Software. And this is kind of, yeah, software. Software is that. How to explain, yes, we kind of do everything. We do individual software, we do apps, we do websites, whatever. How do you want to sell when you are Walmart? How do you want to be an expert in VR? You have to kind of, you want that. You want you want to be a boutique. You want to have a clear message, a clear product. If you go to a Tesla store, you expect a Tesla to be there and nothing else, or not much else. So we kind of started to reinvent our story. Like, we made an internal incentive. It's called Absolute Reality. This is like a department, like 10 people are working in that, and they actually care mostly about AR and industry. And the second one is opusVR, which is a startup. We started with some real estate companies together, and we do visualization from luxury real estate and yachts, because these are the industries who actually have the money to pay that. All the other real estate companies don't have not that high margin. Basically, both companies deal with at least a big part of these different points. Yeah? It's about configuration, simulation, marketing, sales. You can read it yourself, but this is actually the points which are interesting for AR or VR. Depends on the use case. But in this story, if you want to have a customer or a partner who actually invests in you, you have to deliver quality. Germany, we are made in Germany. This needs to be really good. Not a lot of bugs. We have to have emotion in there. We have to build up trust. We build up trust with quality and emotion. It has to be used with ease, not 10 different glasses which all have different features. It's much too complicated. It should be easy. And transparency is a big thing. It's a big, big thing, I'm going to tell you. I start with transparency. At the beginning, when we started, like 2 years ago, we started selling AR and VR solutions. It was like that. A customer came to us, said, hey, we want to do that. How much does that cost? Wait a second. It depends. What do you want? Then, yeah, I want that, 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 that. Okay, if we do it like this, it's cheap. If we do it like that, it's a bit more expensive. If we do it like that, it's crazy expensive. And they're like different. There's a huge, you have so many variables. It's not like building an app. Not like building an app. It's not like building a website. It's much more complex because it's a software project that, we're not too many standards in the development process itself at the moment. But when you fix that, you can build nice solutions. Like here, it's just, I didn't bring videos, I just have pics. You can see that online somewhere at YouTube and stuff. You can run around and configure your flat, or that's what we do with Opus. We did the Elbphilharmonie. Somebody from Hamburg here? Hey! Maybe you saw that. You know this Elbphilharmonie is this really expensive building. If you want to buy a seat in the Elbphilharmonie, you can have a 360-degree view from every seat, kind of. And we did for BMW a car configurator. Yeah, it's nice to have a car configurator. It's even an own renderer we wrote for that. But what else can you do with that? Okay, now you have a much more expensive car configurator. You can run around the car, you can sit in there. But the interesting part is like ecosystem. When you have this, for example, in augmented reality, you can put the car at the table, you can configure it, you can plan it. Tesla, for example, is doing like most of the tests in VR, and they just burn 2 cars. They just drive 2 cars against the wall. Other car companies still drive 20 or 10, 20 cars against the wall. You can do a manual. You don't have to translate it in 10 different languages. You can just show how stuff works, work with pictures. You can show how stuff can be repaired. You can school or train people. And you can click different parts and you come directly to the shop and buy that. Of course, I would just flip through that. There's like augmented reality stuff where you can help with, you saw all this stuff here in the last talks. We do a lot of this smart city stuff. Yeah, so how to repair whatever. This is for retail. Special prices, like a Pokemon Go approach. You just see this very special price just online. You have to take your app, otherwise you won't see that discount. Blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, medicine, like, it's a big point. Yeah? The people don't read it in books, they see it. They can just, yeah, they can experience it. The doctor saw the heart like your heart and didn't just know when he's in early phase from the books, yeah? This is like an overload. This is like from Taipei or something, I don't know. But the easiest way when you want to start with augmented reality is like to go to a database where there's already a lot of material. You don't have to buy everything, like especially when you have this cost calculation, this transparency thing. You have to, do we have the CAD model? Do we have that, or do we have to build it ourselves? Because this is a huge difference. If we already find something in database, it's much easier. We just take it and put it on a stage, and then it works. Otherwise, we have to build it much more time wasting, and much more expensive though. But that's the stuff you have to explain them. We are still waiting a lot for the Tango, Project Tango from Google, where we can just scan like the surfaces, and we don't need like optical triggers anymore to visualize augmented reality. So looking forward. But still, we have to solve this issue, and I think it will be solved very soon. It still looks like a brick. And girls don't like to wear it because of the hair. Seriously, it's like that. Especially in the real estate business. Oh my goodness, they spend tons of money in their hair, and then tell them to wear that. Won't work. Yeah, I think we will go in this direction. Sooner or later, it will be sexy. This was it. And if somebody's in Hamburg, we're going to do like a little meetup with like 200 people on 19th of October in Hamburg, where we have interesting stuff. Check it out online. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure to talk to you.